I wanted to demonstrate different suturing platforms you could use to practice between now and next week, and then even after next week when you learn how to do some suture technique. So this particular model is a synthetic skin. It's made by Medical Accessories. It's very expensive, but you can see it's got several different layers. So it's got the epidermis, the dermis, the subcutaneous tissue, and so when you're doing different kinds of ties and the subcuticular suture, then it helps with that kind of thing, and it feels like real skin. Unfortunately, it's about $75 between the skin and the platform itself. Now, I'm not even using a platform, so that would still work. So the synthetic skin by itself runs about $35. So the nice thing about it is if you use it once, you can use it several times. You would cut this and then you would practice suturing, and this actually comes in a larger piece. This is a sample I got at a conference. So that's one of your options. The other option you have is to use a suture board, and this was made by the Ethicon company. They used to give these out to students for free, but they don't do that anymore. So there's a couple of things. There's these tying tubes, and the thing about this is when you go into this, if you actually go into the tube itself, it's kind of tough. Real skin isn't quite this tough, but you can do it, and it's all right, and you can practice tying with these, doing the sutures, doing some suture ties with these, etc. Okay? Or you could just put it around the outside and not even use the needle and practice doing instrument ties with that. And then they also have these hooks here, so you can use a one- and two-handed ties. The reason that they have the cylinder is so that you can use it as a model that would be similar to doing a deep surgical wound as in the abdomen. So you have to push your finger in when you tie the knot. Let me just demonstrate very quickly. You're not going to be using suture this thick. This is just a shoelace. But if you're tying like this, get my one- and two-handed tie here. You do a tie, see if I've already come undone. You do a tie, and when you tie, you have to push it down with your finger to tighten it up. Okay, you have to push it all the way down, just like you would in the abdomen. So that's another choice that you have. Another one that's more simple would just be a piece of cardboard with two pieces of tape, and you can see I've done a couple of sutures here already. They're just double-sided, and you leave an edge that sticks together, and so you have that area. So that's easy enough to use. Some people use a washcloth and they fold it over. The only problem is if you start pulling on it, then the washcloth comes up and runs away. The other thing that I discovered is using a block of wood. You can screw in a hook, and then you can practice your one- and two-handed ties on that. That's some zero suture, I think, or 4-0. And then you can also put two thick rubber bands together, and you can practice through that, and you can do the instrument ties that way, and that actually doesn't feel too bad. You can't practice a subcuticular stitch on it. I'll cut that out when we do it. Lift it up and go through the two ends like that, so you get an idea. And again, this is a way that you can practice it. During clinical orientation, we'll use pig's feet, and that's fine. You can do that. You can buy some at the store, but in the meantime, you can practice on something like this. Okay. So those are your options, and be sure to bring something in to practice with during the suture lab.